Métis Perspectives on Cannabis Use, a community-based research study. This project explored patterns of cannabis use among Métis as well as barriers that exist to accessing cannabis for therapeutic use. The project intended to reduce stigma around cannabis use and help inform the development of a Métis mental health and substance use framework and a Métis harm reduction framework. Led by Métis Nation British Columbia, the project was supported by British Columbia's Interior Health Authority and Fraser Health. Terry Gillis.
Well, what was really interesting with this project is we sort of set out a survey in the beginning went out to all of the citizens of British Columbia. So, I mean, anybody who is sort of registered as a Métis citizen, whether self-identified or registered, would have received the survey, and we had a huge response back. And what we didn't know at the time was whether cannabis would be seen as positive, negative, neutral, whatever. So it was a great sort of starting point for us to do, and we did a very lengthy survey. It was like an 89-question survey. It was very important for this project to continue to build up research that is really specifically Métis. And that's something that Métis Nation British Columbia or Métis Nation BC, that's one of their goals, is to build a research base that is all about the Métis people.
Elders worked alongside the research team to offer guidance and ensure the team was working in a good way. Their presence was integral for the participants and research team to keep the information grounded and to instill culture and tradition, providing another view on the world. I'm not entirely sure who I am. I am trying to learn more about my heritage and culture now that I'm an adult. Learning about the culture and trying to place my family ancestry in it is giving me a healthy way to move forward and fill a hole in my life.
Overall, we received 1,300 responses back, which is huge. And from that, we narrowed it down to the completed surveys, which ended up being like 1,213. We had scheduled 5 dialogue sessions over 5 months, so to happen every 3 weeks from January to May. And we started with 12 people in that group, and eventually by I think the second or third session, we were down to 9, and then we had 9 for the remainder. So as you can imagine, we were thrilled, but then we went, oh my goodness, look at the data we've got now, which is wonderful, which was the whole point of this project. What we've learned is that there's sort of an overwhelming desire that people want to learn more about cannabis and how it can be used positively in a therapeutic manner, or how it can be used in conjunction with more Western medicine, like pharmaceutical prescriptions, that kind of thing. And that was sort of the overriding message, is that people are interested in learning more, and are those who do use cannabis primarily use it therapeutically versus recreationally.
There are medicinal uses for cannabis, and it can be good for pharmaceutical alternatives. However, being immersed in culture and traditional medicines, rather than cannabis and pharmaceuticals, has advantages and benefits.
I think the greatest challenge was not being able to go into the communities. So we actually, because of COVID, we weren't met with community challenges because we weren't able to go into the communities. So whether there would have been challenges or not, I'm not sure. But one of the key components of the project had been to try and meet with people in the community and bring MNBC to them in a different way. And obviously that wasn't able to happen. So I guess it's sort of a challenge that never was, but as a result was a challenge, because it would have been lovely to be able to go into communities and talk to people in person and meet with elders and get their feedback in every community. And it just wasn't viable.
I have learned from elders in the group beyond the discussions about cannabis, about coping, connection, and the importance of community and culturally relevant ceremony.
The majority of people in this process, from survey to questionnaire to dialogue sessions, they use cannabis for a really specific purpose. There was always a purpose for it. And in some cases, it was recreationally to sort of end the week on a Friday. But more often than not, the sort of the impetus on it was to reduce pain, to help sleep, to reduce anxiety, to reduce depression. You know, all of those things that were very purpose driven, and that I think was, you know, continued to be a bit of a surprise for me, is that it was seen in such a positive light.
So going home after a long day of work to smoke a couple joints to decompress makes me feel like I'm taking a vitamin versus drinking a beer. I better understand why people use cannabis now. I prefer to use natural plant medicine over pills any day. I believe the best medicine is provided to us from Mother Earth. Mental Health Commission of Canada. mentalhealthcommission.ca. The views represented herein represent solely the views of the research team. Production of this material was made possible through the MHCC's cannabis and mental health research initiatives and a financial contribution from Health Canada.